Hi guys! Hope you're enjoying this rainy Saturday. It's a perfect day to be working on your sketches. So we are at the last lesson I think we're going to have this semester. And what I'd like to work on is adding textures and highlights to our illustrations. So quickly, one thing I want to do before we start adding textures is start really finalizing the sketch, right? So I worked on my hair, I added earrings, I went through and added some highlights to my sweater. I also added highlights to my shirt. I colored in my bag. Now remember when we first started and we used all the tools? This is where this really comes in handy, right? So when I did my belt, and don't forget, I keep everything in layers, right? When I did my belt, I kind of gave it with these effects, that metallic and leather look, right? So my belt is down here. Where's my belt? Here we go. So I gave it that beveled emboss effect after I colored it in, and it really does start to look metallic, right? I went through my sweater and I added highlights there. So think about where your light source is. My light source is up here in the corner. So the darker parts that don't hit the light, like her shoulder will be lighter, but all these crevices, and especially down over here and underneath our cuff, those are going to be darker underneath the turtleneck. Her hair took me a while to figure this out. At first, I wasn't loving the ponytail, but I can always do that. I could go into my inks layer and erase that line, but for now I'm going to keep it. So I played around with these blending tools, right? With the color, the dodge tool, I went in and added some makeup, some eye color, I put some rouge on. I did the same thing with the earrings with that beveled look, so it kind of looks metallic, right? I put a little eyeshadow on, and I really use those blending tools to add highlights and depth to the hair. And also on the ponytail, I did that drop shadow. You can kind of see it, and I really kind of played around. I added different strands, some highlights, so things like that. I'll show you how to add shadows to your pants, right? So this is what I did. I took the eyedropper, right? I double click on the color, and I just want to come up with nothing too dark. That's not bad. I'm going to try that, right? I take my paint tool. Make sure you have like a nice soft line. We don't want to use that big hard tool. We want it to be soft and blend. So use that. So my light source is here, right? I'm definitely going to have a shadow. And Jenna, this is where you could kind of clean up that sketch. I kind of like that it's not 100% perfect. But if it bothers you, this is definitely where you could go in and kind of clean your sketch up. Where is my, here we go. That's a little big. I'm going to work with a smaller pixel, and I'm going to give it a little shadow there, right? I'm also going to give it a shadow underneath my belt, right? I'm going to give it a little shadow underneath here. Let's give it some shadow here by the pocket, down there. Now you could make it darker if you want. I'm also going to add some here, right? Because I'm going to add a little movement there. Maybe blend that in a little bit. If you don't like the color, you can kind of play around with it. I want to add, right, because this is where it's folding with my knee. We're definitely going to have a shadow in here because one leg is in front of the other, right? And it really doesn't seem like a lot, but once you start looking away, I really like the way that's looking. I'm going to add a little bit more to that down over here, right? I want to add some there. I'm going to eventually add texture to this pant. I'm also going to, because this would be the darkest side of my pant since my light source is there. And I'm going to kind of draw that in, right? So I'm going to end it there. Oh, I also, did I tell you about my handbag? I wanted it to look like really old distressed leather. So I played around with the coloring it in with these blending tools. And then I added the overlay. So let's take you to the handbag. And I added these effects to it to kind of make it, give it like that distressed look. So step one with adding the textures, let's go in, let's give her hair, let's put a little makeup, add some shadows. I'm really happy with that. So that's it. I'm going to leave it like that. And then don't forget, if you need to, you can always use the eraser tool and see how that, well, I'd have to go to my pant, right? I don't really mind it, but I know Jenna wasn't too happy with that, so I just wanted to show you how to fix that up. And that is it. Next we'll work on textures and our sketches are done. So you're going to be ready to start working on those portfolio sketches in the next week or so. All right. I will see you in the next video for adding textures to our garments.